When Natalie Wood appeared on screen as a wartime orphan in the 1946 film Tomorrow is Forever, audiences across the country were immediately transfixed. Her dark, doe-eyed appearance, combined with her heartbreaking performance, had a massive impact on audiences, and they were eager for more. The following years saw Wood transition from child actor to fully fledged film star, cementing her legacy as one of Hollywood's top actresses. Unfortunately, an event shrouded in mystery would tragically cut short her career and life. In today's episode, the story of Natalie Wood, the Hollywood actress famous for her roles in the award-winning films Rebel Without a Cause and West Side Story. Away from the bright lights, however, the media were eager to publish details of her mental health battles and turbulent marriages. In 1981, at the height of her career, Natalie Wood drowned in the waters off of Santa Catalina Island. While the authorities at the time determined that it was an accident, many believed that her death was anything but. Born on July 20th, 1938 in San Francisco, California, Natalie Wood was the child of Russian immigrants who initially christened her Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko. As a child, she exhibited star potential, which led to her mother, Maria Zakharenko, enrolling her in ballet school. Maria also orchestrated her daughter's introduction to the world-renowned director, Irving Pitchell, which led to 4-year-old Wood landing her first role in the 1943 World War II homefront film, Happy Land. Her film debut was quickly followed by other more prominent roles. In 1946, she starred as an orphan in the drama Tomorrow is Forever, alongside Hollywood A-listers Claudette Colbert and Orson Welles. One of the scenes called for her to cry hysterically when a party popper explodes, which she was initially unable to do. Her mother then took matters into her own hands by ripping a butterfly's wings in front of her 6-year-old daughter, which brought Wood to tears. The following year, Wood landed her first starring role in Miracle on 34th Street, a Christmas comedy drama where she played a girl named Susan Walker, who doubts the existence of Santa Claus. Her excellent acting in this made Wood a star, and before long, world-famous directors were actively seeking her out. In 1955, at the age of 16, she landed one of the lead roles in the groundbreaking film Rebel Without a Cause, where she starred alongside James Dean and Sal Mineo. Praised by critics for its phenomenal depiction of teenage rebellion and angst, Rebel Without a Cause earned Wood an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. While Wood was known for her bright and easygoing personality on set, she didn't always enjoy the films that she worked on. Amongst her least favourites was the 1956 western The Searchers, which also starred John Wayne. In it, she played a woman named Debbie Edwards, who was abducted by Native Americans and then raised by them. The Searchers has since been named by the American Film Institute as one of the greatest westerns ever made. In fact, it was among the first 25 movies to be inducted into the National Film Registry as culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Despite this positive reception, Wood felt that she had been miscast as Debbie Edwards. Another reason behind her dislike for The Searchers may lie in a story that has only recently come to light. Natalie's sister, Lana, claims in her memoir, Little Sister, that during the filming of the movie, their mother had arranged a meeting at the Chateau Marmont Hotel between Natalie and film star Kirk Douglas. Douglas was already a massive star by this point, and Natalie's mother believed he could open doors for her daughter. After dropping her off, Lana and their mother waited in the car. Sometime later, Lana was awoken by Natalie collapsing into the car and slamming the door. In her book, she states, quote, "She looked awful. She was very disheveled and very upset, and she and Mom started urgently whispering to each other. I couldn't really hear them or make out what they were saying. Something bad had apparently happened to my sister, but whatever it was, I was apparently too young to be told about it." End quote. It wasn't until years later that Natalie revealed to Lana that she had been sexually assaulted that night. Film sets rarely gave Wood an escape from the trauma of this and other events, as she was regularly cast in emotionally charged roles, tugging at the heartstrings of moviegoers everywhere. Her fame skyrocketed in the early 1960s, with roles in the romantic dramas Splendor in the Grass and West Side Story, the latter, in particular, turning her into a household name. An urban adaptation of William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, West Side Story was a musical that depicted the romance between Tony, a teenager who had co-founded a gang with his best friend, and Maria, an immigrant from Puerto Rico whose older brother led a rival gang. While Wood did her own dancing, her singing voice was dubbed by Marni Nixon, a popular Broadway performer. This didn't bother moviegoers in the slightest, though, as the film proved to be a huge hit, garnering more than $44 million in the box office against a budget of $6.75 million. The rest of the 1960s saw Wood star in a number of critically acclaimed films, including the dramas Inside Daisy Clover and This Property is Condemned. However, it was the 1962 musical comedy drama Gypsy that mirrored her life the most. In it, she played the protagonist Louise Hovig, who was driven to perform in vaudeville shows by her domineering stage mother. This was a disturbing reflection of Wood's relationship with her own mother, Maria Zakharenko, who would often manipulate Natalie and push her too hard in order to further her career. According to the website, Amo Mama, quote, "Many of those close to Wood could see the effect her mother's incessant instruction had on her even in adulthood. The actress was able to keep many things hidden from those around her thanks to her coaching. Maria Zakharenko allegedly encouraged Wood to entertain much older Hollywood VIPs, despite not letting her date her high school sweetheart. Wood also learned to be silent about many of the alleged interactions as per her mum's instruction. Wood was never short of suitors in Hollywood. Amongst them were actor Dennis Hopper and singer Elvis Presley. The press avidly reported on all her relationships, although it was her first marriage in 1957 to actor Robert Wagner that earned the most media coverage. At the time, he was 26, while she was only 18. While Wood was afraid of deep water, she liked being out on it, which was a passion that she and Wagner shared. The newlyweds spent their honeymoon on a yacht exploring the Florida Keys before returning to Hollywood, where their every move was publicized by the press. Later, Wood would recall that, quote, "We drove a Corvette across the country. Radio stations would announce we had just passed through and people would wait for us in every little town." As Wood's fame grew, so did the media scrutiny on her marriage. But while the press reported that she and Wagner were very much in love, the reality was much, much different. In 1961, after a mere 4 years together, the couple split up, with rumours that Wood had cheated on her husband with actor Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty? Well, I never. He had starred alongside her in Splendor in the Grass. Others, including Wood's younger sister Lana, claimed that the breakup was actually caused by Wagner, whom Wood had caught having sex with another man. In an article published in Vanity Fair, Suzanne Finstead, the author of Natalie Wood, the complete biography, said, quote, "I was told by 3 of Natalie's close friends, by her mother's best friend and her sister Lana, that Natalie came upon RJ in their Beverly Hills mansion in flagrante with a man. Lana recalled Natalie's arriving in hysterics at their parents' house, her hand bleeding, and shutting herself in her old bedroom. Natalie woke up in a hospital, dazed and in shock after taking an overdose of sleeping pills and going into a coma." The press blamed Wood for the divorce, heavily criticizing her for her alleged affair with Warren Beatty. She, however, remained silent on the actual cause in a bid to protect Wagner's reputation, since at the time homosexuality was widely frowned upon. Later, though, Wagner would deny allegations that he was bisexual. Following her suicide attempt and subsequent divorce, Wood took a break from acting and began therapy, reportedly attending as many as 5 sessions a week. She also began dating the British writer and producer Richard Gregson, whom she married in 1969. The following year, they welcomed a daughter, naming her Natasha. Unfortunately, the marriage didn't last. According to Gregson, quote, "It had been an emotional few years together, which getting married did nothing to change except for the birth of our daughter Natasha, whom Natalie loved more than anyone or anything in her life. If I thought her birth would mark the end of our trials together, I was mistaken. The road ahead was much longer and harder and came to an end in a dramatic and most tragic way." In July 1972, 3 months after her divorce from Gregson, Wood reconciled with Wagner, remarrying him aboard the Ramblin' Rose, which was anchored just off Paradise Cove in Malibu, California. The couple made their first public appearance as a reunited pair at the Academy Awards ceremony later that year. Wood believed that the time they spent apart was crucial to Wagner's growth, saying in an interview that the intervening years had enabled him to become a man instead of a boy. Their daughter Courtney was born in 1974, driving Wood to semi-retire from Hollywood to focus on her family and motherhood. She was adored by both her children, with Natasha later writing, quote, "I didn't know as a child that the intensity of our connection was not common between every mother and daughter." Her sister Courtney would also say, quote, "From as far back as I can remember, my family was so happy and engaged with each other. I can remember feeling the love and happiness in the air. It radiates in all the photos." Unfortunately for Natalie Wood and her family, this period of happiness would soon be rocked to its core. On Thanksgiving weekend in 1981, Wood, Wagner and actor Christopher Walken decided to take a trip to Catalina Island in California aboard the couple's boat, Splendor, the ship being captained by Dennis Davin. At the time, Wood and Walken were working together on a science fiction movie called Brainstorm. The project was to mark Wood's return to Hollywood, with the film depicting an estranged husband and wife whose reconciliation was driven by an advanced brain-computer interface. Wood and Walken were incredibly close with each other. However, their friendship disturbed her husband, who reportedly broke a bottle out of anger on the evening of November 28th as the 3 of them were drinking aboard the Splendor. The couple reportedly got into a fierce argument afterward, with Wood excusing herself to retire to her cabin. Later that evening, Wagner tried to find his wife but discovered her missing from the cabin that they shared. The following morning, Wood's lifeless body was found floating in the water near the ship. Authorities ruled her death an accidental drowning, theorizing that she had fallen into the water while attempting to secure a dinghy that had been attached to the boat. In 1997, Christopher Walken spoke about Wood's death, telling Playboy magazine that, quote, "What happened that night, only she knows because she was alone. She had gone to bed before us and her room was at the back. A dinghy was bouncing against the side of the boat and I think she went out to move it. There was a ski ramp that was partially in the water. It was slippery. I had walked on it myself. She had told me she couldn't swim. In fact, they had to cut a swimming scene from Brainstorm. She was probably half asleep." Natalie Wood was buried in Westwood Village Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles, California. Her funeral was star-studded, attended by media representatives from across the globe and Hollywood's biggest celebrities, including Frank Sinatra, Fred Astaire, Elizabeth Taylor, and Gregory Peck. The renowned actor, Laurence Olivier, even flew in from London to pay his respects. From the get-go, many refused to believe that Wood had accidentally drowned. Despite her passion for boats, she had harbored a lifelong fear of deep water, which meant that the theory of her trying to secure a dinghy to Splendor was illogical. Her autopsy report was also regarded as suspicious, since it revealed that she sported bruises all over her body, as well as an abrasion on the left side of her face. There are many who claim that Wood's death was far from an accident, including Lana, her younger sister, and Dennis Davin, the captain of the Splendor at the time. For them, Wagner played a greater role in the drowning than what he had led the authorities to believe. In 2011, more than 4 decades after Wood's tragic death, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened their investigation into the accident, after Davin stated that he had lied to investigators back in 1981. He backed up the claims that there had been an argument on board when Wagner became enraged at Wood's flirting with Walken. He also claimed that Wagner had stopped him from turning on searchlights and contacting authorities when it became clear Natalie was missing. The following year, the Los Angeles County Chief Coroner amended Natalie Wood's death certificate. Her cause of death was changed from accidental drowning to a drowning with undetermined factors. In February 2018, Robert Wagner was named a person of interest, with Lieutenant John Cortina saying in a press conference that, quote, "As the investigation progressed, we've recreated the timeline and Wagner was the last person on the boat with her. We're closer to understanding what happened. We would love to talk to him." He also said that the case was now labeled a suspicious death investigation, since Wagner's story didn't match up with the evidence that they had recently uncovered. So, was Natalie Wood really murdered on the night of November 28, 1981? The truth about her death remains unclear, but with the investigation being reopened, may we one day know the truth? One thing we do know for sure is that Natalie Wood was a very talented actress and loving mother whose tragically short life was plagued by those who abused and took advantage of her, both in Hollywood and closer to home. One can only hope that one day the case is finally solved and Natalie can be remembered for the successes she had in life and not the mystery that surrounds her tragic demise. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to tune in next time when I'll have another story to make you say, "Well, I never."